How do you know they really have mental health problems? How do you know they really have issues and they're not just putting this on to get out of their charges or get out of jail or not be put to death? And so I think that's always a fascinating area for people because we're not human lie detectors, but we do have some very good strategies, and we even have a name for this. We call it malingering, people faking mental health symptoms or intellectual deficits, like that they're intellectually disabled, or what we used to call mentally retarded. And so now what we do is we have a whole series of empirically driven or scientific methods of approaching this to see whether or not someone's being straightforward when they're speaking to us. And it's not foolproof. We don't have the 100% ability to look into the crystal ball and say, aha, this person's telling the truth and this person's faking. But we do have some pretty good tests that allow us to check to see if the person's responding in the same way that other people who have been faking in the past have responded, to see if the symptoms they're presenting are different than what we know real mental illness looks like, to see if there's consistency, and also to see whether or not this is the first time they're reporting these symptoms. Like before this incident that occurred that got them in trouble, they never had any mental health problems before, but then suddenly they're hearing voices. Speaking to other people about their past and reviewing their records, especially the jail records, gives us a rich source of information about whether what the person is presenting to you is actually accurate and straightforward, or if it's a manipulation to try to get themselves out of legal difficulty.
Right. Yeah, that's a very interesting thing, and especially in the criminal defense world. A lot of these offenders, they hear, oh, if I have an evaluation, I can get out of things, and I'll just tell this or tell that. And especially with specific doctors like you, you're like, listen, you need to just be honest and talk to him because he's going to spot that like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know if the snap gets picked up on the microphone, but he's going to spot it very quickly. Malingering, right?
Yeah, and it can happen, Danny, and it can happen too in the family setting, but the opposite. So on family cases, like, when they're looking at child custody cases or visitation privileges or things like that, or whether someone's been a sexual offender or a substance user in a family setting, people are doing the opposite in family cases. They're trying to look better than they are oftentimes. They're trying to look like the Mother Teresa's of parenting. They're trying to look like they're the better and have no problems and difficulties at all, unrealistically so. So you can have feigning good, like people faking good, or people faking bad, more likely in the criminal setting, for some secondary gain, like I get responsibility for my kids, or I get to visit with them more, or I get out of jail or get out of prison as a result. So that assessment has to be part of every forensic evaluation of how can I trust what this person is telling me, and is it consistent across time, and do all sources of information sort of congeal together to be able to create a picture that says what this person is telling me is absolutely the truth,